Welcome back to Advanced Excel 2007. This is lesson 4 where we'll be creating some macros to shortcut things we do frequently. First of all, make sure you're in a workbook called Year to Date and you're on the worksheet called Jan and click a cell somewhere in the middle of the screen. Then go up to the Developer ribbon and click on the Record Macro button. We're going to call this macro Headings and tab down and put in the shortcut key of the letter H, just a lowercase letter H. We'll leave it to store it in this workbook, and in the description box, capital CTRL plus H will insert headings. And click OK. Now the first thing we need to do is to go to cell A1, and it's recorded us doing that. And here we'll type in the word state, and underneath we'll type Vic for Victoria, and underneath that we'll type NSW for New South Wales, and under that we'll type in QLD for Queensland, and under that we'll type in WA for Western Australia, SA for South Australia, ACT, NT, and TAS. In cell A10 we're going to type in the word total, and up here in cell B1 we're going to type in sales, expenses, and profit, and hit the enter key, and then we'll stop recording. Now we go to the February worksheet, click a cell somewhere in the middle of the screen, and Control H will put those headings in on the February worksheet, and we'll do the same on the March worksheet. Control H, go to April, click a completely different cell, Control H, and we just keep working our way doing all the worksheets. After putting in all the headings, go back to the January worksheet, and up here on the Developer ribbon select Record Macro, and we're going to call this one Totals. We'll put in a lowercase letter T as our shortcut key, and then description box CTRL plus T will total the table. And then we click OK. Make our way to cell D2, and here we need to write a formula to calculate the profit. This cell is going to equal B2 minus C2. An answer of 14,000 for my data, and fill that down to row 9. In cell B10 we need to calculate the total sales for the month, hitting the auto sum button up here on the toolbar and then filling it across, and that's done that. Now while we've got the data here, I'm going to select all this data, and from the home ribbon choose the all borders button, select all the numbers and select all the numbers and change them into dollars. And then on the Developer ribbon I can stop recording. Now I've gone to the Feb worksheet in the workbook, and I've keyed in some data for the sales and expenses, and I have a macro already created now that will add up and subtract these figures. So Control T has totaled all that table and formatted it with borders and dollars. Back here in the year-to-date workbook, I'm now on the worksheet called for March, and I'm going to the Insert ribbon and clicking on Text Box. And I'm drawing a little text box under the data, and in this text box I'm just going to key in a little description that this will click here to total and format the table. T in there. The text box can be resized and rejigged to suit the data within it. Right click on the edge of the text box, and from the menu there's an option to assign a macro, and I want to assign the macro called totals, so I click on that and click OK, and then click my mouse somewhere in the middle of the screen. When I bring the mouse back to the text box, it's now the shape of a hand, a hyperlink type of option. Clicking on it once activates the macro and puts in the totals and the borders.